My name is Dylan CineMasai Green, and welcome to the Real Notes podcast. I speak with rappers, producers, journalists, and other hip-hop adjacent figures about their relationship with movies, and, if at all, film inspires their craft. My guest this week is South African rapper Yugen Blakrok. We spoke about Severance, Black Mirror, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, our mutual fascination with horror, martial arts, and samurai films, making a name for herself as a rapper in South Africa, recording her guest verse for Black Panther The Album, her relationship with longtime producer Kanif The Jhatmaster, and the creative process behind her latest album, The Illusion of Being. Come fuck with us.
Just physically, I'm physically here, but the album is out.
Of course, yeah.
I don't know. I wanted, if I'm pretty honest, I just wanted to drop it from, I guess, an English-speaking space, if that makes sense. We've been based in the Mediterranean for the, maybe past 2 years in between France and Spain while making the album. And within this time, I was surrounded by, a whole lot of different languages and stuff. So I did kind of miss being able to speak directly in a way without having some translation stuff. I guess I just missed hearing something familiar. So it was just
Right.
Let's go up. Maybe we can meet some people up here. Just expand a little bit, I think. So I'm here.
Yeah. And that's great. How's the response been so far?
It's been dope. It's been dope. I don't want to say not surprisingly. It's been surprising how open folks have been to the music. It's a strange album drop for me as well because none of the songs were tested out in any way. It's the third. Usually when we'll go out to perform the stuff, kind of get a feel of it after I've written it or if we've recorded it. And I realize we've always kind of included that, our own audience that's grown with us. So whether you're at a hip-hop session or a show, you're doing your regular set and then you want to test out a few new tracks. I always used to do that. But with this album, we were completely isolated, and I had to be quite self-reliant in that. I don't want to let my insecurities about this and that filter. You know what I mean? I tend to be quite self-critical. So with this process, I've had to just face that, be comfortable. This is exactly what I want to say in this way. There's no crowd. There's no someone who's like, hey, I'm looking forward to the new stuff. It's just been done like that, just me and Kanif on these beats. You know what I mean? So to have it out has been quite something, I would say. Yeah, it's been...
That's great.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm so happy to hear that because I've already taken it in. I want to say 2 or 3 times, maybe closer to 4 at this point. And I don't know, just your your evolution's been great to see. I'm happy. We're gonna talk about all of this once we actually get into the music. But I love how you've been able to. I just kind of love how you've doubled down on yourself and your style and your interests and the way you talk about things. Even considering how big, considering the Black Panther soundtrack happened and Cyberpunk happened, you've never really compromised and you've stayed yourself. And you're all the the foundation you established is still there. That just makes me happy to see. Consistency is always a cool thing.
Thank you. It's so nice to hear that also. It's so nice to hear that. Thank you so much.
Yeah. It's my pleasure. It was really since we're already recording and basically into it, I gotta say, I was I don't remember when you followed me on Instagram, but I saw it in there and I was just why'd that happen? That's cool as hell. It just kind of happened out of the blue. So.
Yeah. I'd caught one of your interviews, and which one was it that I was watching? But I really liked the interview style and the type of cats when I went on your profile that you were talking to, your interest in the arts, the visual side of it, as well as the just the musical. So I just followed on that because I enjoyed the content. And so when you reached out to do a an interview, I was so happy. You're kidding, you know? So so I'm super happy. I'm super happy. I usually just do that.
Uh,
Like I see something I'm interested in, and usually, you know, I have a soft spot for like visual things and cinematic and, you know, film and all of that kind of stuff. So I'll just follow that to just keep track. I don't like to miss out on dope stuff in that sense, you know. Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah, not me either. And yeah, I'm grateful and I super appreciate it. It's just like it was just one of those moments where I realized that this is traveling a little further than I thought it might have been. You know, like for it to
Mm.
like reach you down in Joburg is
Mhm.
it's pretty intense to just like I'm like I'm sure you understand just like being in the UK right now, like just like
Right.
the places that music will take you is just like
You're right.
once you lock in and people are really fucking with what you do, it's like the sky's the limit. So
True. It's true, man. It's true, really. And one can miss the process and the journey, you know, if you're not focused on it, like every little step. You know, it's always nice to meet someone who's so far away that links to your way of thinking or your way of doing things. You know, like we tend to think that like that physical distance, I mean, it's a powerful thing, but it's also not such a big thing to overcome right now, you know. So it's quite dope to see how far music can take you in terms of connecting to people, you know, across not just distance, but like culturally and, you know, in all these ways, language, yeah, all of this.
yeah, yeah, no, that shit is different, you know, like that's one of the reasons I love music, you know, like I wouldn't know so many people or so many things about just like life and culture and whatever without this thing we call music.
Yeah,
It's really a beautiful thing, you
yeah,
know.
yeah, same.
Um, but what's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to Real Notes. We're here. It's a beautiful fucking Friday afternoon on my end. It's 5 p.m. in the UK right now. But my name's Dylan Green, CineMasai. Got a lot of names, do a lot of shit. Outside, inside, all sides, especially now, because it's like spring going. We still got a month until summertime, but like it's coming up on summertime. I'm feeling sunny and good, and I'm with somebody else who's also feeling sunny and good. She's not beaming in from Joburg, but she's from Joburg. I'm sure y'all have just heard us talking. I don't know why I'm saying this like I'm just not doing cold opens, but yeah, this is somebody that I'm super duper grateful to have on here. I won't front and act like I've been a fan for 10 years. I probably came on around the same time a lot of people did with your feature on the Black Panther album. I heard you and I heard your voice and I heard the things you were talking about. And it's on a track with Vince Staples. He's one of my favorites. So I was like, oh, and like you didn't just hold your own. You kind of washed him. I'm not no gas. Like you kind of that's your song. Like that's your song as far as I'm concerned.
All right, I
Um,
will take that. Thank you, Dylan.
but no, thank you. You know, like I said, I just it was one of those that really just knocked me in the face when I first heard it, and that's when I started doing my digging, and that's when I came to know Yugen Blakrok, who's in the house tonight, or tonight, it's the afternoon, beaming in from the UK. The Illusion of Being is out everywhere. Please go listen to it. It's been a couple weeks. I think by the time y'all hear this, it'll have been closer to a month. But you know, talent knows talent, steel sharpens steel. Thank you so much for being here. Like it really means the world, like especially knowing that you just like connected off the stuff that I, you know, like you found me in a similar way that I found you. So
Yeah.
it's really fun. It's really fun to know that we kind of connected in that way unwittingly. So, but either way, just like thank you for taking the time. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on here, man. On Real Notes. What up? Yeah.
Mm. Nah, it's for real my pleasure. Like I had been yeah, I had actually wanted to. I'm trying to remember. No, like there were like one or two times where I was thinking like maybe it's time to finally reach out, but then I saw you had an album coming. I think I saw the album announcement like 2 days before it happened, and I was like, perfect, we got to do this. So this just worked out.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
worked out.
I'm just so
Great
happy it
timing.
worked out.
Yeah, great timing too. Also, because I'm just like it's so recent, the release for me, and so like to get a chance
Yeah,
to talk about it like right now as opposed to like an album, the last one that I dropped or blah, you know, it's quite nice to just
right.
reflect, yeah, and think about everything that's going on around it.
For sure, yeah, because the last one was 6 years ago,
Yeah,
basically, right?
2019. Yeah, 2019 was the last.
Jeez, yeah, yeah, nah. We're gonna talk about all of that. I wanna know what was going on in those 6 years. But before we do, I gotta ask you the first question I ask everybody who comes on here, which is what was the last movie or TV show you watched that you had a strong opinion about?
Severance. Strong opinion about the
Cool.
ending. Okay, and maybe also the last book that I read, maybe. What was the last book that oh, that was a manuscript. So maybe it's not out yet, but really, really heavy reaction from a writer that I really admire as well. But that's Severance,
Mm-hmm.
man, you know, really, 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 you know. Okay, I also saw like a couple episodes of the new Black Mirror seasons, you know,
Uh-huh.
the new season. Yeah, quite a lot. That'll be like it's always in there. I think since they started the Black Mirror series, there's often there's always something to talk about, as though like it's an
Mm-hmm.
accelerated version of now or our worst fears type thing. And the way that time is accelerating, man, you know, it just went from let me just distract myself and enjoy to okay, so what's next, you know, that blurring of the imagined and reality is quite it's disturbing, and I really I don't know I enjoyed that, Thomas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I only managed to catch one episode of the new season of Black Mirror. I think it was the one with Issa Rae in it, which I didn't love. I
Okay.
thought it was good, but it didn't like I don't know, like I think like when I think of Black Mirror, like my two favorite episodes of the whole series I think so far are either um San Junipero or Striking Vipers. And it's funny because I
Oh,
think
yeah,
both of those both of those are like the virtual reality, like next steps on the internet type episodes, which I think I don't know why those connected with me in the way they did, but like those are
yeah,
my two favorites. So if it doesn't make me feel like those two, then I'm like less I'm just like, like
yeah. No, I got you.
that's just me though.
Yeah, I mean, there were a couple that like there was one. What was that episode that played on like the Star Trek type vibe, you know?
Oh, the McAllister, right?
Yeah, that one was quite something. You know, I watched it
Yeah,
many
that was
times.
crazy.
That one episode I watched many, many times, and I'd get so pissed off each time like I hadn't, you know. I really, yeah, I enjoyed quite a lot, you know. Um, yeah, especially if it's got to do with some sci-fi in it, you know, a little bit of, you know, challenging kind of stuff. I like that.
Right. Yeah, didn't they make a second USS McAllister episode like in this new
I haven't,
season?
I
Maybe.
haven't finished. I've just started the new season. Like maybe I've done maybe two episodes so far, and then I had to come out
Hmm.
here, you know, and it was right before we dropped. You know, I was trying to distract myself watching stuff, you know, to stop the nerves from doing their things. I haven't gotten
Yeah.
I haven't gotten far in much. Um, yeah, yeah, I haven't. But when I get back, that's what I'm gonna do. Like just get back into it, see what I've been missing out or what's come out since since I last checked in.
Hmm. What how did you feel about the Severance finale? This you're talking about the season 2 finale.
Yeah, yeah,
How'd you
yeah.
feel about it?
Like man, I was pissed off. Yeah, and I don't know. I felt some like. it had been built up so much, this relationship between these two folks, trying to save, figuring out that you need to save this person, making all this effort to go save this person, and at the very end, this thing that's kind of been bubbling under goes and kind of changes. I guess it showed that I'd had some kind of expectation, you know. So when it ended the
Mm-hmm.
way it did, yeah, I was mad shocked, at the choice that they made, you know, to
Yeah.
completely get out of the system, or you're so into it. And also it just explored that, like severing yourself like that, you know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
I guess you're taking a whole side of yourself, and it's a really great concept, you know, in terms of what we do anyway. Psychologically, you present this side of yourself in this type of situation, your work person, personality with the high pitched voice, hello, may I help you type stuff, you know what I mean? Versus your
Yeah,
real
yeah,
self
yeah.
when you're interacting, and how much do we really want to separate ourselves for the bag? How much are we willing, you know what I mean? Because it's not really like you're putting on a mask. You're just showing a side of yourself, really, as a human being. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like brought up some questions, and how much like we're playing into these things that we claim we don't want to. Just yeah, man, it did its job, I reckon. Yeah, I'm still thinking about
I Yeah, yeah, nah, because it ended a while ago. I appreciate that perspective on like because like whenever I think about Severance, it's always kind of been like the masks that we put on, and you're just like these aren't even masks. This is just like another side of you, and like like I think the show does a great job. The show does do a great job of emphasizing like this is just like this is like an aspect of you
it.
that
Yeah.
you're literally cutting out of yourself. I'm also really big into sci-fi like this. Like this this remind like there's three things that Severance always reminds me of: being John Malkovich, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless
Oh,
Mind, and
yeah.
this Paul Giamatti movie called what's it called? Cold Souls, that came out in like 2013 or something like that.
Yes,
It's
yeah.
a yeah, like it's a movie about like there's this procedure where it's kind of like Severance in the sense
Mm-hmm.
that you can have your soul extracted from your body, and a
Oh,
lot of
right.
people do it because it apparently like helps to make you looser or whatever. I don't know. I forget the exact reason why people do it, but the guy
Yeah.
tries to do it. He likes it at first. He doesn't like it after a while. He tries to go get his soul back, but he's in America. He has to go to Russia because they ship the souls, like they give people's souls are given to what they call like soul mules. They're like drug mules, but they like take on other people's souls. And when you take a soul out, it's like 95% of your soul gets taken out, but like 5% is like kept in this thing. And like when people take on other people's souls and they move them around, they like take on aspects of them. It's weird and
Mm.
fucked
Oh,
up
I
and cool
need it.
in the same way.
Cold soul.
Like
I need.
yeah, it's called Cold Souls.
Yeah, yeah. Eternal Sunshine. I cried. Oh man, yeah. I watched it also so many times. It's so heartbreaking. It's that movie.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. Yeah. In fact,
Yeah,
change my
yeah, no.
I'm in there. I'm just like I change it so often. I'm just like, yeah, I'm in there, man. It's such a yeah. I love it. I loved it. I loved it a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing, you know.
Hmm.
I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
Sorry, what'd you say, Dylan?
Oh yeah, sorry. I had said I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, I was done. I took a sip of water. Okay.
Got you.
Yeah.
No, you're good. But yeah, no, I love Eternal Sunshine. It's maybe one of the best, or not maybe, it's definitely one of the best movies I've seen in the last like 25 years. Like from the start of the new millennium to now, it's like
Yeah.
that's a tough one to beat. I think it kind of covers it just
Yeah.
kind of covers every base you could want for a movie like that.
Yeah. It's Michelle Gondry, isn't it? who directed it, isn't it? I think so.
What was it? Michel Gondry? It was either Michel Gondry or Charlie Kaufman. I'm gonna double check real
Yeah,
quick.
do you know?
I know. I know.
I don't want to be too
Let me
confident saying the
see.
wrong thing.
It was Michel Gondry. You were
It
right. You were
was.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the reason I watched it at first, but then like after I'm just like stuck in the story as well. I'm into that like practical effects type stuff, like old 80s movies, 70s. I'm really like stuck
Hmm.
into that type of stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
really
Nah. Same
do.
here.
Yeah, yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. Nah. Same here. I love. There's two things. First, I learned. I don't remember when I learned this, but Jim Carrey, like the scene where it's like changing between different time periods, and he's like running
Yeah,
through the house and out of the
yeah,
house. He
yeah.
like actually changed. He like actually changed all his clothes. Like they shot that whole thing in real time.
In
Like he
one,
had to like
no,
leave. He had to like leave and like change into clothes in like 10 seconds, and like they did the whole thing in one shot in real time, which is like I love stuff like that. That's
yeah,
my
yeah.
favorite.
Which would add to the franticness of that moment because I'm always caught by how like he's trying to catch almost there's a feeling of trying to catch these memories as they're slipping away before they're hey meet me and there's that franticness which is probably just from rushing through and changing and all of that stuff. Ah, damn, that's so nice too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ah, man, dope. Yeah, and also like
Yeah,
probably also first time seeing Jim Carrey in a role like that. Why is it? Yeah. Why is it? No, I think Truman Show maybe was the first one. Yeah, because
Truman. Yeah, yeah, no, yeah.
I wasn't used to
Yeah.
it. I'm from like first saw him in Living Color, Jim Carrey.
Uh-huh.
And I'd always
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like
yeah.
through the mask, through the pet detective, all of that stuff. And that role as Joel was like, oh man, and I can't remember which one came first, but I think that one made the most impact, even like more than Truman Show, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. I think and it's funny. I was just talking to my friend about the Truman Show like 2 days ago because like she had just rewatched the Truman Show and I just rewatched the Cable Guy. You ever see the Cable Guy?
Oh, yes. Oh man. Oh man. Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. In fact, I should run back to it and watch it now because it's been over a decade since I watched that. And man, it creeped me out. Now I'm thinking like I didn't catch on to the nuances in outside of, oh man, he really just became obsessed. But there's certain scenes that stick out, that stay in my mind. What's that song you kept singing? Oh,
Um. Oh wait, the song he kept singing. Why can't I remember the Are you talking about the scene when they're in medieval times and he starts singing the Star Trek shit, or is this a different song you're talking about?
no. Hmm. Oh, it'll come back. It'll come back. Every time I think of the cable guy, I think of yeah, what's this? Oh, it's been a while. It's been a while since I watched it. Sorry, what
Yeah.
were you saying
Nah.
about it? You brought it up now. I'm like, what were you saying?
Nah.
Oh
I
yeah,
was I was
between Truman Show and the cable guy, you were saying something before I interrupted you. Sorry.
Oh no, it's all good. I was gonna say I was just like charting out Jim Carrey's like dramatic, like all of Jim Carrey's dramatic roles because he did because there was like the because like the I'm like the Cable Guy isn't exactly a dramatic role. It's kind of like skirting the line, but I think
Yeah,
the Truman Show
yeah.
definitely does that. I'm like Man on the Moon where he played Andy Kaufman. Like that's definitely I would say that's definitely on that type of time. But I think Eternal Sunshine is the one where it like really connected.
Mm.
That and there was this other joint he made. You ever
Famous?
see a movie called The Majestic?
No. Mm. No, I did not. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that. It's got Jim
It's
Carrey.
it's not it does, yeah. It's not very good, but like but like he's a how do I put this? He's like a World War II veteran. Or no. Yeah, he's a World War II veteran who washes up on the shore of this like idyllic Rockwell-esque American town, and he has amnesia. He doesn't remember where he's from. Like
Oh,
I think and like everybody in the town thinks he's somebody else, so they just kind of like turn him into a different. It's an
um,
interesting. It's interesting. It's not great. It's
but the
definitely not
concept,
Truman Show, Cable Guy,
yeah,
like that type of quality. But it was interesting. It was definitely the one where you could tell that they were trying for like a serious Jim Carrey movie, and it came
mm,
out before Eternal Sunshine did. And then Eternal Sunshine is the thing that let everybody know, like, oh, he could do this for real if he wanted to, you know?
ah, yeah, I might just give it a spin. The Majestic, yeah, yeah, okay, okay, just enough,
Yeah, no, it's cute.
yeah,
It's
just
cute.
enough,
It's
yeah,
cute.
yeah, yeah. Oh, stop.
Um, I wanna at some point in this conversation, I want to touch more on the sci-fi aspect of your fandom. But before we get to that, I want to go all the way back and go to your early viewing history. So, what's the first movie experience you can remember having? It could be at the theater, it could be at your cousin's house. Like, just the first thing that comes to mind for you.
Oh, Beetlejuice, also.
Mm,
Um, it, it stuck a lot. Oh man, and I didn't even see that at the theater. I think we watched it at home, and that kind of
yeah.
informed, like, I misunderstood it, you know? Like that movie led to me
Hmm.
like not liking horror at all, and it's not even a horror movie, you know? At the time that I watched it, I remember I didn't understand English, you know. My cousins were older. They could speak English. Then I mean, we'd go to the video store. It's a Saturday. You know, my sisters and I, my cousins, everyone's allowed to kind of take out a VHS and like keep it for the whole week and blah, blah, blah. Everyone's like picking out their own movies. I happened upon Beetlejuice and I took it completely out of context, you know. And there's this part where Michael Keaton kind of jumps up and he's got all these maggots in his head. And man, my fear, my man, completely missed the point that it's a comedy. Terrified, terrified, terrified. I didn't watch Beetlejuice up until I was like well into my 20s. Realize, you know, I'd stay away from anything that kind of looks gross. So not too much, but like in a sci-fi context, I can kind of get it because I'll kind of like logically, you know. But that type of stuff was, and so, and as a kid, that freaked me out so much. Like, oh, it could happen anytime. There was no warning, you know. Candyman, those two, like, I,
Yeah.
you know, I avoided watching that. But by the time I did, like, I made an effort, like, I think 22, 23, to just start watching it. Just watch the stuff. And then I rationalize, they did this to him, that's why you gotta come back, and you know, all those bees buzzing, you know, like rationalize, there's nothing. I had this weird fear, like something bad is just gonna happen out of nowhere. And that's just because I didn't understand the language. To me, it's just popping up out of nowhere. That's the one thing like about movies often that you know, I used to be super scared when I was a kid. Wild imagination as well.
Right.
So,
Yeah. I get that because I mean like even without the language barrier for me, when I think I must have first seen Beetlejuice when I was like 9 or 10,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and just like I mean like Tim Burton's style, particularly at that time, is like so unique and so kind of like chic and vintage horror,
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah,
super over the top type shit, and I was terrified just like by looking at it. Like you said, it's
yeah.
not really a horror movie at all,
No, it's
but
very tongue
like
in cheek,
but
yeah.
right. But like you look at but like the sandworm is really freaky looking, and I'll never
Yeah,
forget the scene when Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis, they when their like faces get changed, where like her mouth gets opened up all crazy and her eyeballs are on the
yeah,
tongue, and
yeah,
his
yeah,
like
yeah,
face gets stretched out so he looks like a bird or like a rooster with the little what's it called on his head. Like that shit freaked me out
man.
as a kid. Like I'm not even gonna front.
The guy in the waiting room with the shrunken head, you know, all of that stuff, like it just didn't make sense. It messed me up, you know, all this wrongness happening, and I really like Tim Burton's style. Like I grew to love it. in time, once I got the context right, once I, started,
Yeah, of course.
you know, yeah. Oh man,
Did you
Pocahontas, I
have
really,
you oh yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
sorry, sorry. Oh, no, and it's just like a random memory just jumping out at the end, like, oh, I feel something happy. And now it's like not happy at all, context. I remember Pocahontas because I used to love Vanessa Williams as well. And, she sang, I think, the theme song or something. And we still had a cinema where I was growing up before it got shut down. And that's one of my very first seeing anything at the movies was going to go see that. And it's selling us that lie about John Watts's face and Disney version of things. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
As a kid, I love that. I love that shit. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean yeah, and like that shit raised me too. Like my first movie ever in a movie theater was Lion King.
All
Um
right.
but but
Yeah.
but I'm fairly positive around that same. If I didn't see it in the theater, I definitely had the tape of Pocahontas. Saw it crazy amount of times as a kid, but I haven't
Right.
watched it in years, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I play that thing till it's gray, man. You know?
Yeah, you
So
gotta, you
hard
gotta.
to kill. That's what I used to do. That's the tape I used to do. Because it was just there. It was like one of my uncle's things. But now, like, I watched it with Kanif the other day and I was like, hey, man, this is because he was asking me something similar. Like, hey, what movie did you really like watch when you were a kid? And I think maybe he must have thought I was going to say some fantasy, magical, blah, blah, blah. I was like, no, man, Hard to Kill, Steven Seagal, Mason Stone. And then we watched that thing. I was still like reciting some of the script, shocking myself. Like, also, this was like pre understanding what they even talking about. So I can see, oh, I was learning this language like phonetically, you're just repeating the sounds. And now that I'm doing catching myself saying some stuff, I'm horrible to watch movies with just by the way. I can see the whole thing, getting affected, shouting all of that, you know. It was fun to watch that and just see as a kid what you think things are versus like when you're a grown adult and you revisit all these movies that you used to watch a lot and see what informed you in what you think about the world, or how you think things are gonna go.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's super interesting.
What was the last one of those you did that with?
It's usually Kanif we watch a lot of movies. Kanif and I watch a lot of movies together. Because also like we just like to meet at the same space. Like there's certain things that I'm not really into. Like he's into like zombie movies and stuff. You know, that I can only take so
Yeah.
much off. Like I don't know why it pisses me off so much. Like or any kind of like even if it's a slasher movie, I get put off by the sounds more than you'll be like, come on, dude, it's not even real. You can see the blood is fake. I can't stand that shit. I jump at the sound, like that. Whereas like we'll maybe cross over into the more sci-fi. Okay, yeah, some epic, some really good acting, that type of stuff because we both enjoy the sound and the cinema of it. And then it translates also to when we're making music, it's easier to just talk in terms of references. I want to sound like this, or I want the feeling like that for this track. So I really enjoy watching movies with him. Plus, he's also like one of the few people who doesn't get bothered by me talking through the whole shit. You come there, you see, I'm very like I'm my grandma. I'm just like I'm in it. The few times maybe I'll watch a horror movie. He said sometimes, "Oh man, you're the best person to watch a horror movie with." Yeah, because I'm like half jumping the whole time. I'm just, so
Yeah, that's half the fun,
you know, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Nah, yeah, for real. I think I mean, what do I want to touch on first? Like to me, it always depends on the situation. Like like if it's just like you and some homies like in a studio or at a house or something, like talking through a movie is almost like expected, you know? Like I'm not
Yeah,
I'm not the type to like I'm not the type to like police all my friends while we're watching a movie. And like
yeah,
even cuz like you know, cuz like I do screenings I do screenings in Brooklyn, in New York pretty often, and like I'll have like an artist come through and like pick a movie and we'll watch it with an audience and then talk about it. I encourage people to talk during those screenings because like that's half the fun of just like hanging out with your friends, is just like being able to like joke about stuff and like not take it,
yeah,
not to say not take it seriously, but to like have fun. Like we're there to
yeah.
have fun.
Interact
Like
with it.
this is right. Like this isn't film forum. Like I'm not trying to have it be like stuffy or anything
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
But like of
We're
but like of
studying this
course,
thing. Yeah,
right. Yeah, nah, like we can do all that shit later. Like we can multitask. It's cool.
yeah,
So you know, like it's and then like even sometimes depending on the type of movie it is, like in the theater, like you're gonna laugh, you're gonna talk and like say a thing or two every once in a while. Like but like of course that like that's all contextual, and if you're watching like a quiet serious movie, you're gonna want to shut the fuck up. But
yeah,
like
yeah.
but
Okay,
like other times, like if
My fault. Sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to shout out the Real Notes Patreon one time. For as little as $5 a month, you get exclusive goodies like video of every interview, 2-day early access to every interview, an invite to the Real Notes Discord server, exclusive access to the Real Talk Movie Night archive, and early pre-sale links for all live events. If you want to give a little more, you get other exclusives like retro 60-second movie reviews and monthly 90-minute workshops with me, where we can discuss whatever creative questions or projects you might have going on. Head over to patreon.com/realnotes. That's REELNOTES to join right now. I repeat, all videos will only be available on the Patreon. Thanks for listening. Shout out to my patrons. Now let's get back to talking.
but I mean, you know, like if you're like watching a comedy or a horror movie or like something that's supposed to like elicit that type of reaction, like go
yeah.
nuts. You know, I'm
It's
not the type of
helpful.
person who's gonna be like stop talking, like you know.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I'll tell you, that was the last time I went to go watch a horror movie at a cinema. We were in Denmark visiting a homie. She's like a dope scratch DJ, right? So she's like, "Hey guys, I want to take you
Word.
out. Let's go check out this movie. Blah. What do you guys want to see?" So we're looking through the listings, and I'm just like, "Ah, let's watch this movie. Let's watch that." Nah, these girls are like, "Nah, we want to watch It." When the new It came out, man, I was so pissed off.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, are you even my friend? You know, you know how I feel about these things. But also, I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm not in Copenhagen every day. I don't get to see y'all every day. Okay, I'm gonna go. Let's go watch this together, man. We had that popcorn. I was so shook. You know, those sounds, man. Like, and my body does this thing where sometimes I'm so shook, like I just send myself straight to sleep, like I half pass out, like I jump so hard. By the end of that movie, when they turned on the lights, all my popcorn was all over the floor, all over the seats. I must have been jumping, you know what I mean? All over the place. And I'm thinking, I'm never doing this with you guys. Never. This is the first and the last time I do that. I'd rather watch it at home so I can just fall asleep in the middle of the scary part or the boring part. But yeah, yeah, yeah. It's still a joke amongst KCL and them to this day. Like, yo, you with the movie theater. It's just the wrong genre, bro. You know?
That's hilarious, son.
Yeah.
See, you saying that, I've mentioned it a few times on here, so like anybody
Yeah.
listening who's tired of me talking about this, forgive me. But but I got a homie. His name's Fatboy Sharif. He's a rapper from Jersey. I'm not sure if you're aware of him. He's amazing. He's one of the best we got right now out here. But like
Nice,
he and
nice.
I go to the movies all he and I go to the movies all the time. Like we just like we'll meet in New York City and just like go catch two movies if we got nothing else to do. This
Yeah.
motherfucker falls asleep in the middle of every movie that we watch, and I got it like like halfway through, I'm just like nudging his arm and like fucking like he's like, wake up, Reef, like what you doing? Like, but like he's just like he's like life of the party wherever he goes, and like he's like he'll even come to the screenings I do, and he's fallen asleep at a couple of those, but nobody's ever like mad at him. He's just like it's like, oh yeah, that's just Sharif, that's just what he does, you know. Like
I respect Sharif.
yeah,
Check all this stuff just on
yeah,
Facebook.
nah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Nah, it's just funny. Like it's just funny to me that like you would. It only came into my head because you were just like, yeah, I just rather like fall asleep during the boring or the scary parts, and then like wake up, and like every once in a while, the two of us will fall asleep at the same time in a
Oh,
movie.
oh.
we saw this. We saw this joint at the top of the year. It was called 2073. It was like, how do I explain what it's about? It's like it's like a combination of like a documentary and a narrative science fiction movie about like the narrative part of it takes place in the year 2073 after the world's been like decimated, destroyed. Like it's very much like allegorical science fiction type shit. But
Yeah.
the documentary part is all about how the situations that we're living through in the modern world between climate change and everything happening politically like here in the States and in South Africa, of course, you know, just like
Yeah.
everything like just like how all of that could lead to the future that's happening in 2073.
Mhm.
Really cool concept. I thought it was boring as hell. I wish I liked it. I like it would have been
What was
better.
it?
It would have been better. I'm sorry, what?
Oh, sorry, I was asking, what was it that put you off it? Was it like the delivery, the acting, or the plot holes? Uh,
I think I think it would have been better if it would have been better if it was two different movies. Like it would have been better if it was just like either just the documentary or just the narrative sci-fi part of it. I just don't think the two like I get the idea. It was a cool idea. Like I hope somebody tries to do something like that again. I just
yeah.
don't think they meshed together well. And to be honest, the narrative side of it it was just kind of dull. You know, like I didn't really feel connected to the character. The mood and atmosphere wasn't super engaging. It just didn't like whenever I watch a movie or listen to an album, I always think to myself like, is this the best version of what it's trying to be? And it
Mm,
wasn't. Like it just wasn't that. And like
yeah.
people liked it. Apparently it's gotten good reviews, whatever. It just didn't do it for me. It just wasn't my thing, you know.
Yeah. 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 I hear you. Oh, pity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
When
is
I
what it
think,
is, you know.
yeah, and when I think of like a documentary type narrative kind of like fusion, I think of like District District 9. Did you ever see that?
District
Yeah.
9. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
Ever see that?
That was a
Yeah.
big deal over here.
Oh yeah. Oh, nice. I was super happy. I liked how they played on that, Like, are you talking about
Yeah.
something like similar to that in terms of like documentary type? No.
Like
Maybe
it
it's
was
like a docu, but not really.
it so 2073 was like cuz like District 9 was it wasn't really I mean like it was like aping documentary stuff, but and like it was like they were making a fake documentary
Yeah,
about
yeah, 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 yeah.
everything happening there. Like and like 2073 was like it was literally like the movie was cleaved in two, and it was like half of it was a full blown serious real world documentary, and then the other
Oh,
half like they were like completely separate.
okay, I see.
Or actually
I
no,
see.
I lied about them being separate. They were like intercut with each other, but like it was very much like part of it's a documentary and part of it is this narrative like sci-fi thing.
Yeah,
And like I said, it was just like I like a slow burn. I like movies that are kind of dry. That was
yeah,
dry even for my taste. I like I left it and I'm like that could have been
yeah,
that could
yeah,
have been a little bit more than it was. You know, that's
yeah,
just
yeah.
I don't know.
That's just it. No,
It's
no.
one I've thought about a lot. So
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, I hear you. I hear you. I hear you.
But District 9 is amazing. Like I remember when it came out. Like I was visiting a friend when that came out, and we saw it in the theater. And like what? Yeah, I haven't watched it in probably about a decade, but I
Yeah,
loved it when it came
yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know it was just amazing.
Yeah, yeah, I thought so for the time. And then I heard there was like a sequel or something like that being made. I think that's what also just kept it in my mind. Like recently as well, I probably read that they're making a sequel soon. It would have been interesting,
Interesting. Yeah.
to see what happens after that. Yeah, man. Ah, man, shit. Pretty cool. What else? What else have you seen that's new? I haven't seen anything new. I feel like in terms of movies, what is it, May now? May?
Yeah. About to
Really?
be June, actually.
Dude, right? Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, it's June practically. It's June
Yeah.
practically. Yeah. Nah, I get caught up, man. Like I get caught up, and often like movies, they just help me relax. You know, when I
Yeah.
find it hard to still my mind, it's nice to just have someone who's made all that effort, to create a story that will engage you, make sure things are realistic enough or plausible enough for you to just, get caught in it, whether it's like a well-written script or like really clever use of lighting or, you know, just I also like slow burners. You just in it. You just you're forced to go with it. You slow your own pace to kind of get into the vibe. You know what I mean? How sometimes you can hate
Hmm.
a film the first time you see it just because of the state that you're in. You're not receptive, and the next thing it's like my most favorite thing. And I like that kind of stuff. And and often I like to watch old movies because I watch a lot, and then I realize like, oh, 10 years has passed, or oh man, that movie was released, like you'll catch on social media. Oh, it's been 20 years since the release of this movie. Ah, damn, let me go watch
Uh-huh.
it and go see what's happening because you forget there's so much stuff happening. There's so much stuff happening and constantly being released, and a lot of good stuff as well. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I do tend to like, ah, let me see that. Like I remember when The Matrix first came out, I must have watched that thing 17 times. My mom was like, "What's going on? No, satanism. What's happening?" Black Panther. Watching this thing, and
Yeah.
it was just like the impact of it to watch something that fresh in execution and idea, the gutsiness of it, and then oh, how did they do this? And at the time it came out, magazines were still a thing. Like go to the magazine store and maybe you happen upon an interview about how they filmed that scene to get the whole anti-gravity kind of shit. Ah, man, you can do that, you
Hmm.
know? Yeah, I like to sort of revisit it for the feeling sometimes more than even the film itself. Like sometimes you're like, oh man, that movie ain't really that good, but I really just like this, and that, or it reminded me of that time, or this certain space I was in during.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
yeah,
sure. Yeah, yeah, I agree 100%. I
yeah.
excuse me, I do that with movies all the time.
Yeah,
Um, like I'm in a space where I'm watching. I mean, like I also love to just like watch older movies I've seen, older movies I haven't seen.
yeah,
I collect
yeah,
DVDs and like trying to just like watch as I just try to watch as I try to watch as much of everything as I can. I haven't seen The
yeah,
Matrix in a while, but
yeah.
like I remember the first time I saw it, and even though it's funny because I watched Ghost in the Shell around the same time I first saw The Matrix. And
Um,
then when after I saw The Matrix, I did my own research and a bunch of reading, and I realized that the Wachowskis were heavily, heavily, heavily inspired by Ghost in the Shell.
Ghost in the Shell, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, like not in the way that it was like a ripoff or anything,
Mm,
but they
mm,
like they were clearly inspired by Ghost in the Shell.
mm,
And like just like that, like The Matrix is one of those movies, like it really, it felt like a moment. I didn't see it in the theater, but I remember when it came out. I had to have been like 7 or 8 when it came out, but like it was like everybody talked about it. Trailers were everywhere. Like, like in magazines there were interviews and reviews and clips and whatever. And like, like even, like even to this day, just like the ideas and concepts in The Matrix, just like between like red
Yeah,
pill and blue pill, and
yeah,
the
yeah,
idea of like avatars and digital consciousness and linking humanity and a society to the, like it was introducing all these concepts and ideas to people that, like, we're really prescient, like we're living in some iteration of the Matrix right now, in my opinion. And B, just like, I don't know, like like it's one of those movies that it works on every level. Like the action is crazy, the special effects were for their time like groundbreaking. It's very philosophical, super thoughtful. Like it like it really. It's one of those movies that everybody's seen, everybody knows. Like even if you're not some like avowed cinephile or whatever, like everybody at least knows what that movie's about, the moral and philosophical quandaries it's all about. Or you
yeah,
just like to watch Neo beat the shit out of Agent Smith. Like it's really it's like a full package type of movie, Like
yeah,
that shit is cool as hell to me.
yeah,
Like, yeah, nah, yeah, I mean, like you really can't go wrong with it.
yeah, yeah.
Before we move on, to the music aspect, I always like to ask people about capital M movies. So like as you get older and you start to refine your palette and expand your taste and really solidify who you are, like, yeah, so like a capital M movie to me is something that like really stopped you in your tracks and connected with you in an emotional or artistic or spiritual way. Like something,
Yeah.
yeah, you already know. Okay.
Hero, yeah, hero with Jet Li.
Hero, the Jet Li movie? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a good choice.
that one, that one. Just yeah, the color, the styling, the fabric, the story. I'm a sucker for these kind of things. That one and Twilight Samurai as well. Like these are my favorite. Like I watch them all the time. Sometimes I'll watch it without the volume on. It's just like it's epic. This is for me the highest level of it. Highest level of
what
cinema. I just
what was the second one you said? Did you say Hero and then something else?
Twilight Samurai. Have you ever
Okay,
seen
cool. Twilight Samurai. I've
it?
never seen Twilight. I don't even know what that is,
Oh yeah.
honestly.
Oh man. I thought of it when you were mentioning like how you sometimes like a slow-paced movie. This for me is it. It's just like a simple story. But the way that it's told and
Hmm.
the colors and cinematography, also it just stays it gives you the feeling, you're trudging through with him as well. Well acted. Really, man, maybe I'm just mentioning movies that I just want to watch again actually. But yeah,
I mean, that's fine. I'm not tripping.
it's a capital M movie for me. Um, man, what else? Man, it's so many movies, man. Yeah, I do struggle. Yeah, struggle now. I'm scared to like say something and I'm like, oh, actually, I didn't enjoy that much. But so far, I'm just thinking of those two that just came to my mind. Yeah, man, Hero
Yeah.
was a spectacular movie for me. Oh man.
Yeah, nah. Hero is amazing. I've only seen it once, but I was just talking to somebody else I was recording this with a couple days ago because they brought up Fearless, which also has Jet Li in it. So like we were talking about like Fearless and The One, which Jet Li is
The
also in. I love The
one.
One. It's a personal
Oh,
favorite.
I'm so happy
Like
for you.
all those what?
The one.
What'd you say?
I was so pissed off, especially when it's like running faster than everything. I was so pissed off. I did not enjoy that movie I must say. I was so hyped to
Rough.
see it. It just did too much. And I mean, like sometimes I like that. But I don't know why I was so disappointed with that. I gave it another spin like last year, and I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I appreciated it a bit more, I think, than like when
Hmm.
it come out like over 20 years ago. But like, just for context, I'm just giving myself some time to appreciate. But yeah, the one,
Yeah.
Fearless, that's the one where he's kind of trained like a dog, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
And it had an ill soundtrack. Yo, yeah, the soundtrack was banging on that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that shit was crazy. But I wanna focus more on, I wanna focus on Hero, and I wanna focus on Twilight Samurai. So like I've seen Hero, it's great. That's a really fantastic choice.
Yeah.
But I mean like I just added Twilight Samurai to my watch list, so I'm gonna definitely check that out. Like what was it? Because I mean like even not just these two movies specifically, but just like us talking about like these are it seemingly like more like down to earth like philosophical martial arts movies. So what is it about those that kind of what attracts you to that type of stuff? Because like those two specific movies are very like they seem like they're of the same ilk. So
Yes. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Because we used to watch that a lot as kids as well. I think we used to watch a lot of kung fu movies, that dubbed stuff. You know what I mean? The bad dub. It
uh-huh.
had like a culture of its own, and that's even what made me like Wu-Tang before the lyrics did their own thing. When I was too young to
Sounds right.
understand context, etc. But I mean, my sisters and I used to, if we're in a fight, even it's like, "Ah, chia, chia, chia," and we used to make the kick sounds with the mouth. So
Amazing.
this is my stuff. Like I love that. Twilight Samurai, I think, is just for the romantic in me. I'm very much into that, like, ah man, it's a love story. It's the eternal sunshine of the spotless mind type of break your heart type thing. But in a quiet, it's not very scientific. It's not scientific at all. It's just this guy making his way through life. I think he's a widowed dude raising these two kids, and there's I forget her name, Miss. Oh, because I watched Shogun and it's the same actor, and there's Mariko,
Oh,
and
I
now
know
I'm
exactly who you're talking about. I know exactly who you're
right.
talking about. I'll
Okay,
look it up.
Hiroyuki Sanada. Yeah, that's the actor in Twilight Samurai.
Yeah.
Miss, is it Miss Meiko? I think it's Miss Meiko. But oh man, I know I'm saying the name wrong, but she comes and she kind of makes a difference in his life type thing. It's one of those like sweet kind of stories, but it's just executed in such a stark and sad, melancholic, really uh, bluish colors, cold type of feel. The trudge of life and just getting by type thing. I like that. It looked like
Hmm.
maybe view into that time period. I also like that type of stuff, like period pieces, epics. I really like. I used to watch a lot of those. Also, a lot of fighting. There needs to be some here. It's
Yeah.
just a little bit. So yeah, I really love that. Also, the ideas around honor and
Yep.
going through life as it is. Life is complex, and I don't think it's easy for anybody. Anywhere in the world. Nevertheless, you got
Right.
resilience, and even then, I think there's some choices, some tough choices that you gotta make. But the philosophy of living honorably and having honor and integrity, and that I'm into it.
Yeah.
Like I'm really, and folks who forcefully make that their thing. You know, just man, it's fine. Folks who are not being swayed, and even if your decisions don't look strange, if you stand behind what you're doing and you go for it, that shit just like it makes me even breathe all difficult. I get so hype over it. I don't know why I get it, but I'm into that type of stuff. Like, let's watch. Also, like in Hero, there's a lot of that too. And I guess with these Eastern films and what you come to know about them and the philosophies, etc. I'm there, man. It's my favorite genre to
I
watch.
love that was such a that was that was such a great answer. Like I really got lost in everything you were saying cuz like the first thing I thought of there was Eddie Murphy made this Rudy Ray Moore movie for Netflix. I want to say like 4 or 5 years ago, and there's a
Mm-hmm.
scene in it where like Mike Epps is in it, and he's talking
Oh,
about movies. He's talking about movies he likes to watch, and like he had seen something. He comes out of the theater and he says something that I've kind of lived by ever since I seen that. Because like the way he said it was crazy. He was just like, that movie didn't have no funny, it didn't have no titties, and it didn't have no kung fu. And it's just like those
yeah.
three things will just like they'll just like amplify any movie you're watching, you know, like
Yes.
if it's even got one of those three things, you
Yeah.
know, like it'll just make the experience worth watching. And stuff like, you know, stuff like Twilight Samurai and stuff like Hero and all that, like it's kind of, I love the duality of it because, like you're saying, it is incredibly thoughtful and insular and philosophical and like dealing with concepts of honor and loyalty, and like that's why. But then, you know, like there's action involved, and like that's always, you know, like that's always going to get you as a kid. And
Yeah.
then, you know, like you take that into adulthood. As part of the reason why I love there's a game for the PlayStation called Ghost of Tsushima that came out maybe like 3 4 years ago. It's this incredible samurai epic about this guy named oh, why am I forgetting his name? But like, either way, he's a part of this. He's a part of this nobility family of samurai, and he is in line to get picked up by the shogunate as this like new general or like somebody of power and stature. And he decides to go against that because he winds up meeting a thief who puts him on to the ways of just kind of like, it's like the whole story is him kind of grappling with whether he wants to abide by the samurai code or kind of move into something looser like a thief. And he becomes what they call the Ghost of Tsushima. He becomes this like, he starts mixing elements of ninja and samurai into the way he fights, into the way he lives. It's an incredible story, really cool gameplay. The action is like really grisly. It's like it plays like a movie. It's definitely one of the best experiences I've had playing a game in some years. And like if you play games and you have a PlayStation, I highly recommend that you play Ghost of Tsushima because it sounds like it'd be your whole thing. It's dope.
And I'm gonna just I don't even play. I just watch. I'm gonna like watching folks playing as well. You know. So even
Yeah,
it don't matter. It don't matter. It sounds dope. The Ghost of
the Ghost of Tsushima. Yeah,
Super. Okay, I'm gonna look out for it. Okay, I'm distracted.
yeah, nah, cause yeah, cause it's cause like you can totally find let's plays online. Like you can, like I know people have uploaded the whole game and like you can watch it like it's a movie. You know, like there's like a bunch of like the cutscenes are all really well rendered, and like there's a bunch of different
Yeah.
branching story paths. It really is like watching a movie or a TV series if you were to do that sort of thing.
Yeah,
So, you
yeah,
know,
and also like I
it's
guess
cool.
like playing with friends, your turn, that type of stuff, and it's not that type of. I'd probably just be hanging out or playing myself. It doesn't
Right.
from that. Yeah, 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 yeah. It does sound dope. When you say excellent gameplay, I'm like, oh, okay, cinematic, yeah,
Yeah. That's fire. Damn.
for sure.
Okay, so now let's jump over to music. When did music become capital M music for you? Not even in terms of you wanting to make it, but just
Yeah.
like you enjoying and wanting to listen and being fascinated by music.
Um. Oh, there's actually a few instances. The first time I heard uh, rap is a core memory. And then also my mom waking me up. I must have come home from school. Maybe I was like, I don't know, Whitney Houston's "I Will Always Love You" cover of that Dolly Parton. It was really big in the 90s. And I remember
Yeah.
mom waking me up like, hey, 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 here's your song, you know? And I'd always kept that, like, oh, the memory is there. And then the older I got, I thought, why would she do that unless really hype over it? And then I'd notice my sisters also, I'm the oldest of four. We're three sisters and a little brother. everything that I liked, they pick up, and then maybe I'd leave home and I'd come back and they're hanging on to this type of stuff. Like their way of hanging on to me when I was out was some music stuff. So it's something that I've kind of noticed over the years, before I even became that. So like the first time I heard rap was on some pop song. I can't remember, maybe throughout Tears for Fears, or something, like a super old, not the 80s or 90s band, but there was these guys rapping, and I never heard that before. And I asked my uncle, because I think I'd known the song, and these guys had come through on a remix, they sing the song, and then you get these guys. I'm like, what the heck are you doing? Because I'd never heard someone talk like that over a track. And, growing up like 90s South Africa, there we had like bubblegum pop. Everything was most sung. Most of the lyrics was just sung up until hip hop and Kwaito got to South Africa. So my very first, when I first noticed, and it wasn't even hip hop, it was really rap, the style of rap. I was fascinated by that. So I think all these memories compounding over this kind of led me there. Like, oh, I'm really into music. It's not something that I noticed early on, but only on reflection when I writing poetry and stuff like that, or hearing people talking about me. Sense, she really likes to dance, or she really likes, I didn't really put it together that, hey man, I'm just really crazy about this thing, about being in the music, or somehow I feel I'm trying to dance, I'm trying to sing, and I had issues with my voice singing, and that's how I eventually got into it, because I'm gonna get these lyrics out either way. I don't have the best singing voice, I'm not a bother, but I know that I like to talk. I'm a yapper, so I'm gonna. As soon as I figured my way out there, like, yeah, man. Before even the music thing, before rap, I wanted to be like a Beatle. But like, yeah, the dancing really, like my coordination, now I'm much more confident, even if I'm doing some shit. But I'm so much more confident in expressing myself in music. And also because I figured out that rap was my thing. So there was no more pressure to just try and become a dancer. So like, yeah, man, music, man. Like that's I guess that's how I mean, like just like that. I just needed to charge it. Sorry.
Of course, no, it's all good.
It's always been like a part of my life as well. Like I think growing up, we used to live on a farm with my gran, and she was very churchy. So when we were super young, a lot of gospel on Sundays. We were forced to go to church, and my gran was super religious. And then once she passed, we lived with my mom, And when we went to go with my mom, we moved out of the farm kind of setting, and we went to go live in a township, which, they call them the ghettos, the hoods, etc. And here, the vibe and the culture is completely different. Yeah, you may hear some gospel, but on Sunday, Lionel Richie, Luther Vandross, Patti LaBelle, all these, it's almost like a culture, on Sunday, folks are cleaning and washing his sneakers.
Yeah.
Like you learn I learned to associate songs to everything, and I figure everybody did that, like there's songs for every little part of your life.
Oof.
We used to have like lyric books where like you used to listen, and then you try transcribe what you think you're hearing, and then go argue with your homies. That's not what he said. And after and I can't. Like,
I know that. Yep.
you know what I mean? It's unnatural, hard, and then you argue about what you heard and what they. I learned then that like people hear things differently. We all listening to the same song, but you heard some other lyrics that I didn't. From they're always music. With even with the games that we're playing, very musical. You're playing in the streets. It's rhymes. It's catchy melodies. This kind of thing. I was always surrounded, so I never. I don't know. I never thought of it as a separate thing. up until I decided I need to figure out what I want to do as an adult with my life, etc., etc.
Right. That's where I wanted to go next. But before we move on, I'm so
Mm-hmm.
fascinated. Like, I mean, I'm the type of person who also imprints music on everything I do. Like, I have certain songs that are affixed to certain things I do, or places
Mm.
I've been, or like places I want to go. So, like,
Yes.
I want to. Do you actually have like when you do you have those songs? Do you have songs specifically that are for like this is what I'm listening to when I'm like walking outside? This is what I listen to when I'm
Mm.
cleaning, like yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Mm. When I'm down in the dumps, I know what playlist, and I've got these songs that I need to do something, if I'm hurt and I need to just cry it out.
Yeah.
I know what I'm gonna bump to get some tears out quickly so I can get on moving with my life, that type of stuff.
Mhm.
And then certain songs that are like a moment in my life. Like I remember Pastor Rhymes's Genesis. I mean, I like a lot of mostly all of Pastor Rhymes's old catalog, but
Yeah.
Genesis, like the 2000s era. I know I like a lot of 2000s music as well, and it's very different from like the 90s stuff that I like. Like I know if I'm bumping, let's say Grave Diggers, I don't want to hear nothing. I'm just like, yeah, I'm going to handle my business. I'm just doing my thing. I'm remembering myself,
Yeah.
I'll be rapping along, because I like that kind of stuff. But I know if I'm playing anything from the 2000s, my friends, it's my girlfriends, because we're like there, man, and it could be anything. It could be Christina Milian, for Pete's sake, or there's that's Dip It Low. That song is like random, but I'm thinking of my girl Kiki, rest in peace, and Faith, these two friends that I had, and that was the jam when Faith bought her first car. We were just riding in there, all happy for it. That song reminds me of that moment. Now the friendships didn't last, obviously, but I'm. It's still that. That's the song. That's that moment when we were like super happy. Dangerous Minds, Grave Diggers. I know, like when I feel like getting into a writing space, I got stress on my brain. It causes chest pain. Excuse me. Reaper. And then I want to cry. And then I remember when I found out that he passed. And it's like, because I was falling in love with hip hop at that time. It's Killer Army. It's like, yeah, Killer Priest, the whole like and lyricist lounge as well. I was falling in love with this, and I remember not knowing exactly sometimes, but the vibe and the sounds, the spareness of the beat, RZA style at that time,
Uh-huh.
really almost like minimalist, and the whole he's like using tin cans and just like distorting. I love all that stuff. And then if I'm really really pissed off, I'll bump like LP because he's such a motherfucker.
Yeah, like he makes
You know
angry
what I
music
mean?
for sure. Easy. Yeah. He makes
Yeah.
angry fucking music.
Yeah, and I love him for a damn, like, you know, um, I like the certain artists that speak to, this side of me or that side. I used
Yeah.
to bump a lot of Jack Tripper also before, but like his more psychedelic stuff, and yeah, I'm on my drugs and da da da, and I'm not doing half that shit, but I'm like, whoa, man, I'm glad you're experimenting and like going through your what and just showing your own experience.
Yeah.
Just like, yeah. And of course, like I like to have like my sister when I'm hanging around my girls, the past 10, 15 years, like a collection of women who rap. Then I know if I'm hanging out with any of my girls and we feel like just chilling and doing something, we've got them, whether it's like Kanye Mavi, anything she raps is dope with me. Sarok, Dynasty.
Yep.
I really like, Star. She's just like, and it's not, I'll do that,
Yeah.
Anatiju, I hope. how you pronounce her name, but like I have like a stack, a gaggle of gals, and I'm like, yeah, I'm in my sisterhood. I'm just like, yeah, man, or introducing my homies to some of the women that I really like. We like to, well, less now because my homies are far. But like when we do get together, we do a lot of that. Like, oh, who have you discovered for the sisterhood? Blast that thing, like,
I love that.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
so good. And yeah, I'm happy you brought up Star because Star's an alum of the pod. She's been on here. Yeah.
that's how that's how I got to know you.
Yeah, that makes that makes perfect sense. Yeah, no, like we met.
Yeah, that,
She came up to New York a couple months ago. We met in person for the first time. We had a whole like we talked for like
yeah,
we talked for like 2.5 hours. That was one of the longest episodes we've
yeah,
ever done. It was I love her. I love the way her mind works. Her music's dope. Shout
yeah,
out to Star,
yeah,
always and forever.
yeah,
She's
yeah. Oh yeah,
everything.
shout out to Star, Double H, baby.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
Don't forget the double H. Yeah.
please. Yeah, yeah. I met her the first time I came to the UK. Actually, we met in Birmingham, and I got to
Oh,
see
that's
her
fun.
spit live. Yeah, because also I used to the day I discovered her, I was teaching English second language, right? In some language school, and I was hitting night shift, like teaching international students and stuff. And so like times a student wouldn't pitch for class, and I'm sitting there for the whole hour, like maybe waiting, and I'm online, during the lessons. And then one of these days, I go on YouTube just to my little list so that when we have our girls' nights, we've got some dope women to listen to. And this
Yeah.
night, I discover stuff that's still dope, all of that stuff. Damn,
Yeah.
she's dope. And at the top, bruh, she's ridiculous. Man. Yeah. Yeah, I like how her mind works, man. And she's funny as shit. I really like her.
Yeah.
I like Sarok. I discovered on the same night as well as and DY, who ended up taking me on tour. Like like when my agent once like, hey, don't open for Dynasty. She's doing her European tour, and I was
Yeah.
heading up to Germany. I'm like, what? You have been
Yeah.
listening for 5 years, and you saying, man,
That's
and it
incredible.
was so dope to learn from her. Man, DY, she is dope as hell. That
Yeah.
New York kind of shit, it's get nothing, Tim's, long ass dreads, just
Yeah.
like amazing on stage. Amazing stage live. And she's funny as well. Like she I think without even trying, she taught me more myself on stage. I used to be like a bit more self-conscious, like relied too much on the lyrics or the cleverness of the lyrics that I was when I was rolling with her. Like, man, presence, man, without even having to say anything. You have to just being there like proper MC. She can do anything she wants on stage, that girl.
Yeah.
You
Yeah, yeah,
know,
yeah,
I,
yeah. No,
I,
Dynasty's amazing. I'm
she
definitely a
is, yeah.
big fan of hers too. Shout out to Dynasty.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, I love that. I love that. Like,
Yeah.
man, that I got to meet them. Yeah, these were my sisters for
Oh,
sure. Like in rap, outside of rap, no doubt. Yeah.
yeah. That's everything, man. Like you got to have that fellowship if you're running the way you run, and that makes me yeah. Like I can just sense the passion. Like it's all just it's super palpable. It's just right there. Um,
My girl.
yeah, nah, you got
Yeah, yeah. It's so, yeah. It's
you gotta put on for your own.
ah, man. Yeah, I know they put me on. I'm grateful. Like an artist is the best that they can. You feel it. You feel it. Like, man, you didn't have to, but I'm really glad that you did, and that it's important to you to do that.
Hmm.
It's not everybody that feels that way. A lot of us are like tricked into thinking mediocre, and if you
Yeah,
can just pop a bit, you're right, and it's not, man. I mean, it's cool if you need to just, but to not chill in it. it's a space to reflect. I feel like, man, once you do the best that you can in any situation, whether it's I'm trying my best to communicate this idea feeling, but they need that. I'm gonna do my best to break what I see as an interference in connection. I'm gonna do my best to, it 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 frees you to do that. You don't be walking home 45 minutes later like, oh man, I wish I'd done that and that and that. It's easier for you to let go what you're not able to achieve only once you've tried your best.
Right.
Without doing that, you're just setting yourself and a lot of these unanswered questions and what ifs and stuff like that. So like, especially when it comes to art, and to give all that you can is because there's
Yeah.
always faith in yourself that you will refill again. This project is not the last, it's not the end, it's your highest level for now.
Right. And
And
you're like,
you're trying to do your best.
yeah, absolutely.
Go on at this point.
No, I never want to interrupt anybody's flow state, and you've been in quite a few, and I'm just loving these answers and just soaking all this in. I just wanted to, I wanted to jump off that because like you've put out 3 albums.
Only, yeah.
Yeah, like yeah, no,
Yeah.
like you've put out 3 albums in what 12 years and
Yeah.
it's
It's like one every 6 years.
yeah, so like I'm just like just like I'm stuck on the idea of just like you doing your best and you really taking time to sharpen your sword. And like one of the things I've always loved and admired about your style is that like it was already incredibly cinematic. Like from the time I heard Return of the why am I blanking on the name of this album? Return of the Astro-Goth. There we go.
Astro-Goth.
I'm looking at it. I'm
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
brain just died. I'm sorry. But like from the
Beautiful
time I heard
mouthful.
from the time I heard Return to the Astro-Goth and like leading up to The Illusion of Being, like your style is so cinematic. Like you're like like it's all about mood and atmosphere and conjuring images, and like in particular it's very sci-fi. Like to me, like to me, your albums really play out like they play out like sci-fi short films or like a novel or like even like a game, like on some like Deus Ex Machina
Yeah.
shit to me. Like it's I've always been really attracted to that.
Kanif, did you hear that? No, I said juice X. Ah, okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah. No, we're all nerds here, bro.
No, I'm too happy. No, I'm too happy to hear. Like, what? Yes. Thank you. Oh,
No,
okay.
nah, this is what
Yeah,
we're here
okay.
for. I'm happy you appreciated that because it's like I can think of like 5 people I know who would appreciate that reference. So I'm happy you're one of them. But but yeah, I mean like your style, like like it was already there and established, and like you took your time to do what you wanted to do, especially since I know like particularly around the time you first put out Astrogoth, like there was this kind of split binary in South African hip hop. Like there's like very much like it's kind of split down the middle in terms of like there's people over here doing like really big stuff that's like mainstream,
Mm,
quote unquote mainstream, like that tends to just be a little more like party focused and oriented, and then you're just kind of like over here
mm.
crafting your own world off in your own little corner. um and I guess like I'm just curious, like when you first started releasing music, how long did it take you to kind of come to this style that you wanted to do? Because like I said, it's like it really feels like you're at this point where every album it just feels like you're tinkering with things and like making slight tweaks and adjustments because like the core of who you
Yeah.
are was already established so early on and you're just kind of adding to that foundation. So like talk to me about building that foundation and like how you got to the point where you released
Mm.
Astrogoth.
I really like what how you've worded this, mastermind, but like really, yeah. Firstly, I think the gap, I never feel, or maybe I felt but ignored it, to release more often because of D'Angelo, you know. Between Brown Sugar and Voodoo was like 5 years, you know. And when we were mixing, mastering the Return of the Astro-Goth, in fact, how we found the mastering, the guy who shot the House of Ravens video, Nick Hester, really dope director. He recommended us to get someone. Let me introduce you to this guy, Joe. And when we go to the studio, it's a nice spot, and we're thinking, nice. So we start having this conversation. Now, who do we like? That we're going to be able to work together or not. And it's like, D'Angelo's Voodoo, I find to be one of the best mastered albums of all. The thing I knew we were working with you women because of that. Like, I don't know what was going on in his life, but he had these two beautiful albums, and once you're listening to one and the other, there's no concept of time, there is not even one week after the other. We could have released them 10 years apart, but the thing that jumped was how much you could get absorbed to this. And second, I didn't know that you would wait that long, because the mainstream or commercial way of doing it is, strike while the iron's hot. As soon as people are paying attention, you drop your next project, EP, or release or feature, just climb on, and the fact that he'd done that wasn't that way. I remember looking at the city, even all the chickens and just shy, and this whole was put in and how it was packaged. I was like, man, this is dope. And the fact that he waited all these years, it just seemed to me like about the plasticness of things, to be able to do things in one's own time. And also all the kung fu calligraphy artists, take decades to master their style.
Yeah.
By the time I got into hip hop, I was more into if it takes long to make, it takes long to break.
Word.
To yourself going long time.
Word.
So by the time I started getting serious about making art for myself, I approached it from there. Like, this is something, I have this style that I would like to master, even if it takes, and it should, my whole life. So I approached it like that. The Return of the Astro-Goth, when we're making it with Kanif, we said, this is the me that exists now with all the knowledge and little knowledge that I have. And then you make this of art to represent this space that you're through. By the end of it, I'm somebody different, And I did find that, like, also with a lot of my writing, a lot of things that I'll write it and like, man, it sounds dope. What does it mean? And then like a month later, I hit a situation or a connection with somebody that moments there makes sense to me, and that's before I'll even spit it for anybody. So I saw that, maybe sometimes I need to make space for this stuff to sing for me, because often, you're channeling stuff, but like I do feel like to inhabit it before I give it to else. You know what I mean? Like, to not just be the messenger. I'm not like an oracle and, oh my God, all my ancestors are speaking through me, but I am that. But at the same time, I'm also me, to make the connection, to make it one, to not just have a vessel. I'm just, these things just, no, but like I have these experiences where things need to make sense. Should anyone ask me what any lyric means, I know exactly how to explain. I can even give you an example of what was happening on that day when I wrote it, because, it's fixed like that. So some songs I write super and I'm done in a day. Others can take some weeks. I know that I've mouthed over 2 lines, like 3 months. The whole song, I'm kind of like, dude, you're not gonna record it. I'm like, yeah, but the last 2 lines, like, I feel like the rhythm is right, but these words, man, ain't right, and it's just some words. but I will leave it up until I feel like, that's what I really wanted to say. Like, I don't want to waste a word. I don't want to waste any space or any,
Yeah.
and it's, and I've, I can be crazy with it as well. It's allow artwork to like just be eccentric, but be yourself, is the thing.
Right.
And I'm really into it. So often when folks do, I like how you asked a question also, what's been happening in between those like 6 years and stuff. And I can, kind of occupy them. Like, and I've been living these words, and these concepts and these philosophies, If I'm a scientist, I'm testing
Yeah.
myself first. Whereas, you know, some folks may have maybe asked me in a way that I think trying to make me feel defensive because I'm so obviously not into the system of, hey, I'm chasing you for your attention. I need to stay relevant. I don't care, who finds me relevant or irrelevant. What I care is the connections that I do
Of
make,
course.
the references that we share. Get in my target audience, you're not my target audience, and I'm not really here to entertain you. I'm here to entertain myself,
Right.
in this life, and connect with art in the way that I respect it. Like, oh man, that's some thorough shit. I can get behind that, or I like your work ethic, that I don't have to as well. Like, represent you as much as you can to the best of your ability. And for me, like, I like to take my time, and it makes me feel good that like I've done the best that all I wanted was 3 hours.
Yeah. I respect that so much. Like I think most of the best things come from, like taking time to like even going back to D'Angelo again, like considering how long it was between, like Brown Sugar and Voodoo, it was even longer between Voodoo and Black Messiah.
And
That shit was
voodoo,
it was
please,
15
and
years.
what,
15 years.
my man, and listen to how that thing
Yeah.
is. Yeah, 15 years, man. But like, uh, yeah, and he is who he is,
Yeah.
and he's done what he's done. I love that. I really, really love that.
I mean like
Yeah, it gives you the freedom.
yeah. Most people I'm sorry, I was gonna say most people feel like I feel like most people would be happy to have one classic album versus like to me D'Angelo has three classic albums. Like
Yeah,
Voodoo and Black Messiah are all classic albums. And like all of those came out over the course of 20 years,
fact,
and I think like
fact.
you're operating in a space where you're taking your time to create these worlds and rap the way you rap, like it's like I'm already blanking on what song it's from, but I'm just stuck on you calling. Oh yeah, it's from the song you did on Colors, where you're talking about how like you're Neo moving anti-clockwise until the cipher is complete. Like I can't think of anybody else who's like I can't think of anybody else who would say those words in that order in that way. Like you're very unique in that way, and just like you put the image in my head of just like Neo kind of not even just going in slow motion, but like going backwards in slow, just like stuff like that is it's so vivid, it's so potent, and I'm not the only person who thought so.
And because you've watched the movie
Right, and because I watched the movie.
and connect with in that
Right.
way,
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? Like, it's almost like little clues for like-minded folks. Like, I like it when folks get it as much as I like it when folks get it. It's such a, I don't know why I like having that. See, like, oh, these are my people. They're not. These, because these are the things that I really care about. Otherwise, I'm not rapping about it. I can have small talk about it. You know, it's in a social sense. But once it's that you're passionate about, yeah, I get very like intentional about it. Like, oh, the type of person who would appreciate that type of image is like me in the way that I process information and what feels good to
Yeah.
me.
Right. 1000%. And
And then big
what'd you say?
saying big up. Thank you for that. Like just highlighting that the area of it. It's really dope to hear.
Nah, it's my pleasure. Thank you for writing it. I think like stuff like stuff like that really does connect to people, and just like listening to Morbid Abacus. It's just like that song, like once again, that song is just so that song really just takes me there, like as a listener and as somebody who's like picking up on what you're putting down. And I'm, of course, not the only person who felt that way at some point, because you put out this one album, and then a couple of years after that, you got an email and communication from some like from a little label that people around the world might know, named Top Dog Entertainment. Like they reached out and they
Oh,
were like, "Hey, you we want you to hop on a song." Like, like you, like, once again, like we didn't bury the lead because this came up, but like you're on the Black Panther soundtrack. You have a song with Vince Staples and technically a song with Kendrick Lamar. So like you put out one
yeah,
album and that happened.
yeah.
Like,
Oh snap! Why are you saying it like that? Oh, I love that. Yeah.
so
Huh?
like okay, like tell me, walk me through how ops came together. Walk me through how you, because I mean, like, I know that like you didn't know who else was going to be on the song. They just asked you for a verse, if I remember correctly. But like, walk me through how that happened.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. First, so this is within 6 year gap, right? Um, after Astro-Goth, we started touring Europe, but that was like from 2016. So that's a good 3 years after I've dropped the first album. Those first 3 years I was in South Africa, just you know, every show I could get was just doing that. And then 2015, I thought maybe it would be a good idea to just head out also, like meet more of the international folks that shown interest, the first folks to like buy the discs or order the album and show love,
Yeah.
outside of my home country. So when we were doing that, I do feel like we 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 grew a bit, going outside of the South African industry into a one with Europe as the base. I also did feel like just feeling as well, like in terms of how our music is perceived. I figured if I leave the country and then just like throw myself out there, most likely to link up with more people that are like-minded. We just spread all over. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So that, I think that helped in getting the name out in terms of being a South African abroad in Europe and not necessarily in the UK, because that language thing is all, we don't speak French and Spanish and all of that in South Africa. It's mostly, English and
Right.
South African languages, you know what I mean? So that strategic thing, I think it did kind of lend itself to being on these folks' radar somehow, because like if you look at the other South African artists that are on the album, they were huge at
Mm-hmm.
the time. And I'm talking like some millions of views and hundreds and thousands, almost 5,000 folks, my views. And I'm there. What had happened was we'd been touring Europe time, maybe around October, and I was about to head back to South Africa. So a couple of days before then, we're in Berlin. I'm packing my stuff, and then I get a message on Instagram, and it's Soundwave, Kendrick's
Wow.
producer, right? But it doesn't click like that. Yeah, it's I kind of, he's just written "yo" under a picture, so I did nothing. Didn't I didn't think, he's like, yo, check your DMs, and we exchange emails, and then he asks me, hey, there's this secret there's this project that I'm working on, and I think you really fit on it. I'm a fan of your work. Like, no way, this is that sound wave. What do you mean? You know? So I even go and I go check. It's really hit. Okay, and I tell Kanif, and I think Kendrick's producer's hitting me up to do something, and I say, okay, for sure. I can over what you think, and he sends over the ops beat, and then I say to him, hey man, what do you want? I do like work like that. Looks like what you have in mind for this, and then I'll write specifically, and then like it's our thing, And it's like, nah, just give me some high energy rebel shit, like 4 words. I'm thinking, okay, great. Who else is going to be on it? Because I'm kind of trying to figure my way around it. Like if I'm working with them, the trying to meet them halfway. I'm comfortable in my style, but I kind of, So if I know you're in, I don't know, mushrooms and stuff, I'm gonna lean into that. If you're into mysticism, I'm gonna lean it. Whichever side of myself, coincides with that. So I'm getting some clue. It's giving me nothing, but I can hear like Kendrick's voice on the thing. So like the beat is completely empty, but when the chorus is like that to me, because I'm saying it and he's saying it, but there's only that. And I'm, man, I think it's even Kendrick on. I'm gonna do it. I didn't want to. Man, the beat is so different from what I usually do. I don't know, man. Maybe I would dance to it. I don't know if I would rap to it. And kind of convincing to do, man, just rap. You're an MC, you can rap with anything. Just do this thing, and we're gonna be out. So I chill there, and some reason I'm eating. It's Monday. He's like, and can you send it back to me by Wednesday with my
48
slow ass
hours, bro.
that can mull over. I mean, and I mull over my 2 lines for like 3 months. I'm like, okay, cool. Let me do it as a challenge to myself, just because also Kanif said I'm MC on anything. And I was like, oh yeah, that's why I like this shit. Let me try it, So the verse is super loose, because I was like, I'm not on this. I'm just quick. Let me just go and just write about all the things that I like, So I've got all these comic rem there. I've got some Black Panther stuff here. I've got some like Batman stuff there. It's just verse, and I'm sending it hoping, and he's gonna hear it and be like, maybe she'll fit better on this. I don't know what they're making, and so I write this. We find a studio in Berlin the next day, and I go record it, and then we're out. I take my flight. I'm back in Johannesburg. Like, great. I received the verse, and it ended up being the track with Reason and was it Java? I think Reason is Java. But by that time, I was like, I've only got time, so I just picked that one that I'd already started writing on. Like, I'm not gonna do 2 tracks. I didn't know what was going on. Imagine, it's almost like fumbling a bag. Anyway, so I did that. Went home, and only after I was in Johannesburg, like a month, 2 months later, calls like, so we really, really like your track, and Black Panther the movie is gonna be coming out soon. And I'd known this, obviously, because and it says, hey, we'd like to use this for the movie. We'd like to use this for the movie. I was like, oh man, yeah. Only after the fact, and the bleeped the bleeped part of the verse, because I was busy on my Batman stuff, man. I had
I was
no
gonna
clue,
ask what the bleep part. That's
that I was
hilarious.
all up
Oh
in
my
Marvel.
god, that's hilarious.
I know. And folks come, oh, this one, doesn't she know Batman is this? What is she doing rapping about DC comic stuff? I'm like, yo, if I'd known, maybe I wouldn't have, I just like Batman, I just, I didn't. That's it. But it was, yeah, that was quite an
I'm sure it was.
experience,
And
man. In retrospect,
in retrospect, what?
No, I'm saying in retrospect, I was quite stressed at the time. Now I'm like, yeah, and then I did this, but at that time I was like, oh, am I gonna be? Will it be good enough? I've only spent this many hours on it, that type of thing, and it ends up being like you know, one of the top verses in the album, or one of the verses folks like the most out of that. And I was so critical at how little I didn't think that, did my best with the time I had, and I still was feeling some type of way about it. But once it landed, it also showed me that, like, dude, you can relax. You can relax and do what you think is your light shit. And if you're dope, you're dope. And also that, like, pickers and being able to maneuver. Yeah, I learned quite a lot from that also. One, to take myself a little bit less serious, man. Damn, just get back to enjoying the stuff, like,
Right. I mean, like, it's just like I said, when I first heard that verse, it was an immediate like, oh, who the fuck is that? Like it just completely like brain focused on the song in a way that, I mean, like, I was focused because I like Vince Staples, so like I was obviously gonna want to listen to what he had to say, but I heard you come in and you start, and I'm just like, whoa, who's that? And like I guarantee, and like you said, that's definitely one of the bigger songs on that album, so I guarantee you that I'm not the only person who felt that way. And like, it's crazy to hear that you didn't even know that this was going to be on the soundtrack, because I'm sure that would have added a whole other level of pressure to like making the song. So like, you just seem like you just got to create
yeah, I'm
on your
glad I
own,
didn't
because
know.
yeah, I mean, like, if they're like, hey, you're going to be on the soundtrack, like, make a song, like, that would have been crazy. But they were like, hey, we want to do something, like, it's
Cool.
and you came with your A game.
Yeah, I could have gotten performances right. Yeah, I would have been way too nervous if I'd known. There is no way. I would have folded. Yeah. I would have gotten away. I've got a little, yes, okay. So I'm gonna have to leave in
Okay, cool.
about 20 or so, but I think I might have to go earlier
Okay,
to get ready.
so
Um, I've got a lift to
So in that case, we can just speed straight
yeah.
to talk about the new album. This has been great, by the way. Like, I'm like,
Oh,
yeah, this has been
yeah.
amazing. I'm so
Yeah,
happy we
yeah,
got the
yeah.
chance to do this. But so yeah, so in that case, let's talk about the illusion of being. So the thing that I think is really,
Uh-huh.
once again, kind of going back to what I was saying about your work generally, like, it's very sci-fi leaning as it is, just based on the stuff you talk about. But none of your, as far as I can tell,
Uh-huh.
unless I'm just reading them all wrong, none of your records are like concept albums per se, but they're all like very thematic and all about,
Mm.
like, once again, like, you're very much like a mood and atmosphere person, and very much just like transmuting personal
Yeah.
experiences into into these kind of like abstract, like mystical, bordering on spiritual realms, like, it's like I
Mm.
love how, like, I love this little middle section between like a full-blown concept album and just kind of like
Yeah.
you stringing shit together across a theme that just is dope. So considering
Yeah.
that it's been about six
Yeah.
years, but since the last one, what life were you living in those 6 years that led to the creation of the illusion of being?
Yeah. Now I've been joking like an immigrant life. The first two the first two albums I wrote and recorded in Johannesburg, in my home country, where like folks like me are in,
Uh-huh.
and
Yeah.
you know what I mean? There's that, and um I've always been curious about other folks. You know what I mean? Black folks where oh, you're the minority, like the social political things, of being who you are, that you're in. This has always been something. And on this album, I think I got to experience it, as more than just a concept. I came to Europe, like 2019 was the first full year that I spent up here in, the Northern Hemisphere, where like I'm a spring baby in South Africa, and then here it's in the fall, and then the whole Halloween, the whole thing, cultural experience, and experiencing myself here and seeing what's different about living here and living at home, besides the lack of familiar language or familiar practices. What does it mean to be? So that's the life. These spaces, being other in a way that is so obvious. Like I'd never experienced that before. I've never stuck out anywhere in Joburg. Even if you're navigating so-called white spaces, you're in a black country. So these kinds, and I mean, I like to focus on race for shock and weird politics of it, but just on a psychological level, we all operate within these confines of this is what you look like, therefore this must be what you are, you know. And I could explore that because, the lack of information, the prejudices, all of this kind of stuff, how will it affect me, this that I have? Am I gonna fold under this? Is this shit gonna make me better? How do I feel being away from everything that I know? How cultural practices being affected? Like where I'm from, like I know where my uncles and my grandmother buried her mother and her mother, same practice for a long time. Like my lineage, the line is long, and then I'm up here. What does that mean? How do I shock myself out here? Because it's a new version of me. This, it's so much that I don't know that I'm learning. I'm shocked to find that I have shit to unlearn. Oh, damn, I remember my first time someone bumped into me on the street in Berlin, and my backpack on there, like because Joburg, man, just walking all free. I mean, folks here leave the phone on the table and find it. I think we'll be stuff like that. Like, who am I here? And how do I want to go? How do I see myself? And so, what illusions do I have to break for myself? What veils do I have to strip away? And just trying to get to myself, Bruce Lee stuff, being honest, being as honest as you can, It's not an easy thing. And so, like, all of it has been a journey towards the album. I'm the experiment also. So it's just things I've learned, really. And I've learned them over the course of 6 years. From when I first came here to Europe, I could rock a crowd for sure. But since I've been here, I know how to run a show. You hear me? Like, yeah, shout out DY, and being able to take that to the next level and the next level and the next level. And I know that who I'm opening for, when they get on stage, it's gonna be like that. Like, damn, that girl, I didn't think she won't be that nice. I like that because it gives the next guy like that feeling that they wanna, that hip hop stuff. I like that I've been able to explore that here and not get caught up in and that whole separation. Like, it's not my land here. There's no connection for me. And then also how to let go of certain things and old mentalities and what doesn't serve you. I'm not edged because it's I'm not born here. There's so many things that inform, where the lyrics are in this, and now listening to with an open ear that doesn't need to fix. Oh, that needs to be mixed better. Oh, that is too loud. Now when I'm hearing my lyrics back, I'm like, man, I guided myself out of a possible, like, really sunken place, tend to that, like mantras through life, I'm making effort, I'm gonna write this chorus like this, and you keep repeating it like a spell, and it binds you in this force, like you can find, make that effort, like I'm gonna say some shit that's gonna change something, just in your chemical, in your chemical makeup, because power is in the word, man. The power is in the word. And for me, I'm proud of this album, and everything that I've gone through to make it, making the room that I recorded in, everything is us there, with getting rid of the self-doubt, being able to rely on self, like I said, like we weren't playing these tracks out to anyone. We just, is this good enough for me? Yeah, this is good enough for me. And I'm going forward with it. Whether, I mispronounced the word, I'm not going to go back. It's one word in a whole verse, whereas like in the previous 2 albums, I would have gone and retook that thing 200 times until I sing out perfectly. I'm like, man, the energy is here, the meaning is here, hands instead of turns. That's also my accent, man. Fuck, let me be self-accepting.
1000%.
This is it, accept. Yeah, it's been a lot of that going into it, accepting myself, and I think it gives that kind of vibe type of album. I don't think it's an easy one to listen to, but I do think that it is on some level transformative. I don't think you feel the same way after listening that you did before, whether good or bad, either way. But I do think something happens in there. And about this album, man, Dylan, I love it.
Let me boil it down to one song, because my favorite song on here, speaking of mantras, is Fighter Mantra. That's the one that's the one I keep coming back to. The beat's so engrossing. I'm a hand drummer. I play djembe, so anything on that spectrum, I'm immediately drawn to. And just like, I don't know that I've ever heard you rap over anything like that. I've never heard Kanif make anything like that before. Like it kind of has this like spectral. It's got this like spectral vibe to it that really kind of puts me on like the ancestral plane on some Black Panther shit. Like, that's how I feel listening to it. So walk me.
I got to say,
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, tell me how the song came together, and then I have one more question that we can end this with, because I know you got to go.
Okay. Well, shout out to Mark Andrew Sanders. That's the producer of that beat. And this is also like the first album that's got like one producer feature, production
Spotify
feature.
lied to me.
I've known yeah. I've known this cat for a long time. I think even when I first started rapping, I used to be like, man, send me some beats, blah, blah. Dope Mark Andrew Sons, he's in Grahamstown, I still believe. But like, he'd been sending me stuff for years, man. And I remember when I was putting together the beats that I liked and what sound I'm kind of going for, because I know I can just go to Kanif, and Kanif is constantly working on stuff, and I'll go in, I'll either be like, oh, it's really nice, or he'll be like, hey, what do you think about it? And I know he's made it for me. So with this instance, we both want to have our peoples with us, like we've 2 albums together. So getting Mark he sent that, and I picked it out of a bunch of beats that he'd sent, and that's how I felt at that time. And I think it had started, the first few lyrics to it, I think right after the George Floyd.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where the whole world was kind of like, let's all look at this shit. Let's stop trying to avoid these conversations. It's quite a big thing. And the one line there, an unclenched fist pulsing where the wrist is. That's just like the one image, because there's this, like, and we've associated it. It is the symbol for black hole. This is it, but it's also a clenched fist. We're not doing this out of celebration, but we're fighting a system. I would like one day to see an unclenched. We don't have fucking our existence.
One can dream.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To have an unclenched fist still powerful. You know what I mean? Because we're here and we're not to have it with a pulsing where the verse is, you know? For me, that's like, yo, for one, I think that line kind of started for the long verse to be like, what do I really want to say about this, about being this, you know? Man, fire, man. And also with, I guess it's also saying, I don't know when this is going to end. You know, sometimes we say things to make ourselves feel better. That's really what that chorus is. The longer in the fire, the stronger is the fire. That's your way of hurting yourself because this shit seems unending, you know? You know, you want a chant that has a finality to it, but until you can find that, you gotta keep going.
No, this shit is like culture defining for all of us. Like we live in this every day, and you know, it's just like, well, if this is gonna be here, it might as well just be. It's like it might as well be your inspiration. But like, like you said, when is that gonna be? When is it gonna end? Is it ever gonna end? You know, and like, how do we reconcile with that? And I think like this song is that to me. On top of the fact that it just sounds amazing, you know, like it, like your flows and the beat, it just sounds great. It's a very easy song to get lost in. So, yeah.
Oh, and I really like also the percussion of it.
So crazy.
I was like, oh man, yeah. Shout out to
Truly.
Mark.
I mean, like this is a fantastic record. I'm happy I got to sit with it. You know, like I really hope people especially people who are into like more esoteric sci-fi leaning stuff go and seek it out, because like you've been doing special shit for a long time. And I'm happy, and like I'm happy to see whatever exposure you can get, and obviously like to have you on this platform. But before I get too sentimental, I have one more question for you. And Yugen, that question is, if your life was a movie, what would it be about?
It would be Kung Fu epic. Yeah, I mean, without a doubt, the lonely samurai. You know, yeah. That would be it, man. Yeah, that's my pursuit of happiness, or my pursuit of honor. Yes, that's what it would be, a kung fu, hopefully a kung fu classic, but like proper something like
I think it would be, you know. I think it would be.
I don't.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yo, thank you so much for taking the time to do this, like all the way from the UK. Like I said, it's been about 5 years since I've been tapped in, and I'm very happy to see you still going about it and just like finding yourself out there, and you know, like not finding yourself and not losing yourself while you've been out there. And you know, like you just like anybody on the same like craft and process tip, like I'm always gonna feel kindred to people like that regardless. But you know, like I'm really rocking with what you do, and just thank you for thank you for doing you. Honestly, it's great to see.
Thank you for having me on, man, and for spending this time. Yeah, getting all this out.
It's the least I could do. I'm just happy to be doing this here with you. Thank you. Thanks for listening. Shout out to y'all for making it this far. And shout out to all the black people listening too, because y'all really impeccable. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell a friend to come through next time. 1.